Looks like everything's all squared away now, and you guys know where to ask questions if you want to ask questions. It looks like Julian has his coffee and everything, so I think we can get going on the formal YouTube intro and just get this going. All right. Hey, everyone. Anthony Fantano here, internet's busiest music nerd. Hope you are doing well. It's time for an exclusive conversation and interview with the one and only singer, songwriter, multi-instrumentalist, and frontman of The Strokes. It is Mr. Julian Casablancas coming in after the release earlier this year of the band's latest full-length LP, which I loved. A lot of people in the audience have loved, and we're going to be asking questions about that and more. How are you doing, dude?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. So with the new record being out, you guys just dropped a new music video for it too, and it's had months to digest and sort of work its way through everyone's heads. What have you guys felt so far about the reception among fans and beyond, and also just your own feelings on the record now that it's finally out, and I guess you can maybe look at it in a more slightly objective way?
Uh, Honestly, it's probably too fresh
Mm.
to view it uh, objectively.
Mm.
It usually takes a couple of years, I would say, until I accidentally hear something, and then I can, digest it with fresh ears. Um, yeah, I don't know. It's been good. It's been great. It's cool to see Rick Rubin's kind of work, you know. I don't know, coming to light, because we're working together, and it's just, he's like, a mythical person. So, we're making all these decisions, and I really respected a lot that he was doing and a lot that he was saying. And I could kind of quickly discern that he was, pretty advanced music mind or human mind, or, just kind of a super wise witch doctor, whatever. And so to see it kind of come out and have everyone like it, it's just like, oh wow, he did his thing and it worked and people liked it. It's kind of cool, I guess.
I mean, this is probably a pretty obvious question, but Rick Rubin being obviously as legendary as he is this someone that you guys sort of had in mind for a while, someone that you've been wanting to work with, over the course of the band's existence?
Yeah, I mean, I'd say for a long time. I mean, I don't know, it's almost a joke, probably, somewhat in the industry. I mean, everyone kind of wants to work with Rick Rubin, and I
Hmm.
think it's, even though it's kind of thrown around in, I don't know, record label, meetings all the time, and it's kind of, probably like, made fun of on some level.
Hmm.
I think it's there for a reason, and I think as, musicians, regardless of, jokes aside, I think we always did want to work with him.
Hmm.
And I didn't hesitate. I mean, when he was down, I mean, he sequenced Phrases for the Young, and I've kind of met him and talked to him here and there. And Jason, who produced, who engineered, yeah, he produced, I guess, he produced Phrases for the Young. He engineered this record. He's worked with Rick. He's very close with Rick. So, yeah, no, I don't know. Yeah, it's been a dream, I guess, for a while, but didn't know what to expect, but it was great. And I think we're hoping to maybe, dig in and work again now that the kind of, barriers or, I don't know, polite kind of, the kind of the politeness and the carefulness you have when you kind of meet and work with new people. I think we could probably kind of dig into other deeper levels now.
And what would you say for this new LP and kind of where the band was at that point when making the record kind of changed conditionally that allowed for that opportunity to finally be able to work with Rick and do a record with him?
Sorry, what do you mean? Like why or what
Yeah. I
conditions?
mean, if it's something that you guys have been sort of like, hoping to do for a while, like what was it about this album and this situation that kind of created the opportunity?
I think he just liked the song. I think he just liked the demos.
Hmm.
I mean, I think because we'd send him stuff before, and I think we kind of joked with him, and I think he's too polite to say it, or not polite, but yeah, I think he just connected to the songs. I think felt like we were ready. He probably meditated and saw that we were ready to embrace his wisdom. I don't know.
Well,
It was up to him, is my point.
Well, I guess speaking of that, like, was there, I don't know. I mean, how would you say, because you guys have made so many records already, like, how exactly did throwing Rick into the mix change the process, or what kinds of ideas was he bringing to the table that just kind of made this experience or the record itself radically different from anything you've done in the past?
Well, I mean, I'm okay. So I'm pretty, jaded, and I guess it takes kind of a lot, I guess, to impress. In the music world. I mean, I respect people and like working with people and have an open mind, but to meet someone who's going to kind of like blow your mind on a musical level with how they like think and approach things is pretty rare for me. So I think it wasn't just the name that would have done it. I mean, I believed in him, or it's not like I doubted it, but you don't, until you see it, you don't. It wasn't like I just was drinking the Kool-Aid before I met him. As soon as we started talking, I just saw it was just kind of a simplicity, I think, in all things. Of it's. I think when you become so wise and you've tried so many combinations. I once asked him, I said, "Why are you so in tune with the universe?" And he said, "Just because he's tried everything, and he's just and it's kind of goes to all things that I've always believed in, like work ethic and all that, blah blah blah." But yeah, I think it started with simple things. Like I wanted to record in the live room, and because I liked kind of I'm talking to the band a lot, and sometimes I'm playing the guitar, and we're just easier to communicate and feel it. And I kind of wanted to set up my mic, and he was like, "Oh, set up in the live room, us as in the vocal booth, And I kind of it's kind of like not like cheesy, but it's like just traditional like rock documentary or movie. You go in the vocal booth, and I used to kind of think that was cool, but whatever. I was not so into it, and but he was kind of just like, it's so dumb and simple and straightforward, but he was just like, well, if you do anything really cool, it's just isolated. And you could tell that I didn't want to go in the booth, but he was just kind of like forcefully like, just go in the fucking booth. And I think, and it just kind of clicked. I mean, he only had to ask me once, but I'm just saying, there's been so many records where I do a random take that I like, and for the last 5 years, there's always drums and guitars in the mic, and it's always such a nightmare. So I was just thinking, of course, that's so simple. And so that's like the kind of simplest level you could say. He told us to jam every day. He wanted us to just play together a lot. Adults Are Talking probably came out of all the jamming. So that was, arguably one of the better songs on the record. He was very involved with arrangement. So I think, he's got a clear idea of kind of the flow of songs and the feeling of songs. And, he focused in on a couple of, Eternal Summer is probably the one that was the most impressive musically. When he really blew my mind the most, the melody that I sang on the verse, he just kind of, because I had basically jammed on the song and sang like 20 things. And he kind of, and I narrowed it down, I think. And then he just took like 2 melodies, and he was like, now put this part here. And he was building, and as he was doing it, I was honestly thinking, where's he going with this one? This is like kind of the first time he was kind of like really digging in. And it turned out to be just such a cool melody. And I was blown away. And I was wondering, like, do you ever write songs? Why don't you write? And I just think he's not he just kind of takes things and then puts them around. But he definitely has, you know, very musical ear. It's like he doesn't get into the technical thing, but he's just like one level beyond it, very technical and knowledgeable. So he's not going to say like, EQ or whatever, but he'll just, it'll almost sound like layman's terms, but it's very insightful. And I don't know. Does that answer the question?
Yeah, I think it does. And I think it brings up some interesting characteristics of the record, too, the way that you're talking about some of these elements, because the arrangements of the record are really unique for any Strokes album. And what you're talking about with the jamming, too, seems pretty significant to the songwriting process as well, potentially, because a lot of these songs, lengthwise, are really spacious and packed with these elongated instrumental passages. I mean, would you say this process was kind of influencing all of that? Because the tracks, and in a good way, are not nearly as tight or straightforward as they've run on many previous Strokes records.
Yeah, I mean, he it was like, I think he's all about, I don't know, or at least with us or with this record, like the groove. We listen to a lot of, we listen like Talking Heads things and, Rolling Stone, just kind of like those songs that have like a kind of rhythmical, just kind of like groove songs, I guess, like almost like we're just playing one chord. And I think he was gravitating to a lot of that stuff. He would just feel like something felt good. And then those kind of parts would I think we left the arrangement essentially to him. I mean, we did it together, but, he would say, like, I think it should happen 8 times. And
well,
sure.
Considering the groove thing, a song that kind of sticks out in a unique way in that regard is At the Door, because of how stark and sort of stripped back that track is. Which I think also kind of plays into the simplicity that you were talking about earlier in terms of what you were doing with Rick. I mean, what exactly kind of drove that song to the point where I think musically and songwriting wise, it does resemble a lot of what you guys have done in the past. But as far as the instrumental arrangement, it's just so bare and it's just so simple. And I think it makes a lot of your vocals and what you're saying on the song so much more intense too.
Well, that song, I mean, that song probably had the strangest, because that was a song that Paul, he's he's a friend, and he was, I guess technically he was the guitar tech, and he was, and I was staying at the house. I was staying at Shangri-La. They had like a room there, and he was also staying in one of the rooms. And so we were just kind of there at night, late at night, and he was just, I think we were just jamming, or he was just playing, and it was basically, it's his song. He wrote that thing, or it was the acoustic, is on a guitar. It sounds like a keyboard that Nick is playing, but it's actually a guitar. One of those digital, what are those crazy things called? Digital guitars. But anyway, I thought it was going to be kind of like more than words, like extreme style, like an acoustic guitar but the sound, Jason brought in his digital guitar, and then, yeah, we were trying to get, I really liked the verse, and we tried it with different parts, and we would show it to Rick, and he was like, no. And then finally a chorus came that I thought was good enough, and we put it together, and he was into it. And so we built that one. That was probably the least organic song, I think, on the record, because it was Rick, Paul wrote the verse, and I sang over it, and then I brought in the chorus, and then we just kind of, Nick came in and we recorded on the digital guitar, and I added all these random classical parts. Well, it was like secretly classical or whatever, but I don't know. That one was kind of a laboratory freak.
Would you say?
But I thought it was going to be like more than words from Extreme, and I don't know if it didn't really become that, to my chagrin.
Would you be able to talk a little bit about, I don't know, what I almost read is almost like a a nostalgia factor on the record, because there are a lot of portions of the album and these songs that sort of seem to very consciously be calling back to a memory, either like a contextual memory or like a musical memory of some sort. Whether that be, going to Eternal Summer, where you sort of have those rock-based portions that seem almost like Floydian, or even on multiple portions of Brooklyn Bridge to Chorus, where you have those references to the '80s songs and bands, and even those synthesizers too. That kind of call back to that same era too. Was there something you guys were kind of like missing or vying for, or just like thinking about in terms of something decades ago in the writing process or jams on this album?
I don't think we really talked about it. If I remember correctly, I think it's probably just indulging in guilty pleasures. At least that's what it feels like to me. I think I come from kind of the place where I'm, being like all super intellectual about music and trying to like, push weird boundaries. And then I think we all get together and we're in this kind of nice studio, and it just feels kind of like fun and light, and just want to dance like nobody's watching. And no, I don't know, just kind of, all those things are just in me and in us. And I think you never know when things that inspired you are going to come out. But I don't know if it was on purpose. I think it's just things that I would shy away from in some situations, like kind of like when I do voice things. It's like built up repression of like not playing, traditional chord progressions or something. I don't know. I think it's like just fearlessly not being afraid of like of guilty pleasures. Like I was listening to a Wham song yesterday, and I was just thinking just how good it was. And I was like, I would like to do a song that sounds like this or feels like this. And I'm not afraid of sounding like Wham. That's, obvious, I guess. Well, it depends on where your mind is. It could be like not cool, but anyway, I don't think I'm answering your question, but yeah,
no, I think you definitely did answer it. And I think, to sort of dive maybe a little bit further into it, that subconscious or even conscious embrace of those guilty pleasures, of those ideas from the past. Is that how, Bad Decisions ends up with that Billy Idol tie-in, or was that maybe more of like a more conscious, reference there?
I think that was just an accident. That's, it was obvious, I guess, but I always thought I would change it. And probably the lyrics is probably what made it stick. I don't know. We've had things in the past where, like Tom Petty things that we've kind of just kept in there and then kind of worked out for us. So I think... I don't know. I think I left it to Rick. I was like, should I change that? And I think it was just like, no, it's fine. I don't know. We obviously, gave the credit there. There's no denying it's, the same thing. But I did versions where I was trying to change it, but I don't know. It's one of those things that I did not think would be like a main part of the main song. And then when it gets to the finish line, it's just like, well, what do we do? It's been there the whole time. Do we just like change it at the finish line, or do we just leave it? And so I think it wasn't my decision, but the decision was made to leave it. But it wasn't like, you always accidentally, all art is theft, you try to write your own original thing. Everything we do is everything about our behavior is imitation of things we've seen. So it's really, even when we're trying to be original, it's like, your body's interpretation of a reflection of something else.
The fact that you sort of end up at these moments where, that track is undeniably like a new original song that sounds like a Strokes song, while that sort of melodic parallel is there, it doesn't sound or come off like a Billy Idol song per se. But, I guess the point I'm getting at is, do you think the fact that they're becomes almost this legality issue when those natural and sort of inevitable similarities turn up. Do you think that sort of speaks to a really weird weakness or a lack of understanding of or acceptance of the creative process when it comes to copyright law and I guess the music industry at large?
I mean, in that particular case, I don't think it's very like insidious. It's like everyone kind of knows it's like Billy Idol. It's not like a secret.
Hmm.
It's not like we're trying to just have some big success on this part and we're like, no, it's not. It's an original song, and like I don't know who Billy Idol is. It's like it's very kind of there, and we obviously like spoke to them before we even put it out, so it was like, I mean, Billy Idol was credited, for this, like, it's like we co-wrote the song. He was there in spirit. It would be cool if he was there hanging out. Yeah, I mean, I like Billy Idol songs. It's like a respectful. Also, we live in this era where there's so much sampling, and I think the kind of sensibilities of 20, 30 years ago are a little different too. So if it was like trying to mask it and really just writing this thing to success by like stealing someone else's music, then I do think there can be like lines that can be crossed, but I don't believe that this was that case.
Would you be able to, for a moment, I guess as far as you're comfortable with, be able to speak about, I guess, the creative dynamics of the band these days? Because I know over the years of the Strokes' existence, that may have in the past at some points been a bit of a point of contention, but it seems like as the years have drawn on, you guys always seem to reconvene regardless and have something new to present to us. I mean, since you guys have kind of started, I mean, how has sort of, again, that creative dynamic and the creative process and kind of the chemistry of the band changed over the years?
Chemistry, I don't think it's changed too much. I think there's certain dynamics that remain. I think some of the dynamics that caused problems, I think we've kind of maybe dealt with it a little bit. And so I don't think they're issues any longer, knock on wood. I mean, we're, a little older, a little wiser, hopefully, a little chiller. So I think that's just natural. I mean, when you play so much with the same people, I mean, it's, it becomes a little bit like second nature. It's like you fall into the grooves pretty easily. They're just like mapped out in your subconscious. And so I don't think it changes really, to be honest. I mean, I'm always, trying to get inspired by new things and working on things. And so my mind will evolve, and I'm always kind of on this quest of, trying to reconcile, cutting edge art and, commercial success. So, yeah, I don't know. And being able to infiltrate, have political stuff be a little more overt. And, I mean, it's changed in natural ways, but I think essentially it has not.
Drifting off of the new record just a little bit to sort of, understand your creative mind in different contexts, because the Strokes are obviously not the only band that you operate in. With this new record being as, in my opinion, and the opinion of many others, as daring and as experimental as it is, where does that sort of put you creatively with the Voids, per se? Because I think for more casual listeners, the obvious difference there is the Voids are much more experimental. They're much more out there. They're, much more, sometimes even harsh sonically. But it seems like on this new record, you guys were almost kind of pushing that envelope a little bit too.
Um, what do you? Sorry. So what do you? Can you?
I guess at this point in your mind, like, you
Like, do
know,
I agree with that, or sorry?
not really a disagreement thing, but in your own creative mind, when you're writing or sort of concocting, or sort of in the creative process for one band or another band, like what in your mind makes a Stroke song at this point versus a Void song? I suppose.
Well, I think at this point they're both kind of, you know, like they kind of generate music on their own.
Hmm.
So I've almost tried to kind of write less because I have so many songs and no time to record them. So I think a lot of times, like, it's kind of, there's like an organic thing happening in each now where like the songs just kind of, you know, coalesce on their own more than me bringing in a song and like starting it from scratch. Um, I definitely have parts that I bring in or work on that I think it's funny because I don't even, sometimes I'm not even right. You know, I'll think something is better for one band, but then it doesn't work, and then it works for the other band. So that happens sometimes, more rarely than before, I would say, but I'm assuming that might still happen. Sometimes I'm working on a Void song and then I'll play with the Strokes, but then, like, as we're playing, like, that idea will kind of come out and vice versa. And I always have to like explain to each band, like, I'm not like stealing from one band and like giving it, just in my mind. And I'm just kind of, so sometimes it's just location. I wouldn't be surprised if there's like lyrics that kind of have like, cross pollen, like, like the same lyrics in both bands already. Sorry, I'm kind of derailing. I'm not sure exactly how to answer that.
No, I mean,
I mean, my
I think you're illustrating the the separation if there is one. I mean, it's there's going to be some lines blurring there because you're creatively a part of both entities and playing the role that you do in both entities. So I mean, I think what you're sort of explaining makes sense to me.
I mean, the way I think the trajectory, if I have to be honest, and I know it's like weird for maybe Strokes fans, and that's I don't know, it comes with the territory, you know, like most artists I like, always have like many phases where they do cool things and all their fans hated them for it. So I don't take it personally, but weirdly, the Voids for me is always, it's like the journey that I felt like I was kind of, the first three Strokes record. To me, that's the same journey. And I think the Strokes now are kind of have become its own thing. And it's not, good or bad. To me, it's just, it's just like kind of letting things, naturally kind of, be what they want to be without fighting it. So I get to kind of do the things that I want to do, and then I also I still do the things I want to do, but I do it in this thing that became its own thing that that has, I would say, the Strokes have this whole like history thing. And I am just so artistically not interested in that, but everyone else is, in like the kind of connection. And so I kind of don't fight that within the Strokes. And I'm happy to do that. But artistically, sometimes I don't. That's not like what my fantasy is. So I think I also have outlets where I can just do, whatever I want to do. But hopefully they'll both kind of start to blur more and more, and there'll be weirder Strokes things, and then there'll be kind of more mainstream Voids things. I mean, we'll see, because now, like I said, they've both become these like new creatures that are their own things, and I enjoy doing both. And I'm excited to work on new songs.
When you talk about when you talk about sort of that history, are you speaking on just like a general obsession with the band's past and the first few records and that sort of thing, or oh, why doesn't this sound like Last Night, and so on and so forth, is sort of what you're speaking on there?
Yeah, I mean, it's a pretty tricky thing that I probably understand all the pieces separately, but I kind of never dive in, because it's just like kind of an unhealthy place to go, I find, to just like kind of self-analyze through the eyes of others incessantly. I think that's kind of what like pop musicians do, to be honest, or big songwriters, producers, you know what I mean? They're just like, or even like record label people, I've noticed it's like, it's the same kind of thinking, where it's like they have to judge artistic quality, but it's based on commercial popularity, and they have to kind of like pretend like it's the same, even though they're just nothing to do with each other, kind of, almost. I mean, there's a little overlap, but it's like, it's like you have to make money with Pepsi, but you have to somehow like then talk about like what a good song it was somehow. And then there's like, so there's all these levels of music that I don't like agree with, of how it's like thought of and talked about, but there's also like just the way you want to like live your life and pay your bills and not fight against, you don't want to kind of create this kind of situation where you're like swimming against the current. So I find that there's a lot of question marks that are all, it will almost be too controversial and like a waste of energy and time. But I often wonder sometimes if I took a song and I like just switched the names, what people would, there's like, not with all the songs, but there's certain songs that I feel like just by changing the name, it would just, the whole thing would be like, oh, this one is so, like, if you put band A or band B, it would change the what a like reviewer would be like, this was so much darker than I expected, this is so much lighter than I expected. I don't know, there's a lot of like that I don't get into. I just like to judge art on its own, and I'm not interested in what I did before.
Well, to speak hypothetically, do you feel like in that very scenario that you're citing, a record like Come Down Machine would be, more critically praised or something like that? Like if it were just a different band, or if it were just presented in a different way, do you feel like the reception of that would have been like a little bit warmer?
Well, Come Down Machine, I mean, those are different. Those are Come Down Machine and Angles are that's a tricky one for me, because that was a pretty weird time, and we had all these like contractual things. So it's like you're trying not to kind of, sabotage your name, but you're also like trying not to kind of lose too much energy in like a kind of toxic environment. And I think, or like expunge too much energy. I don't know what the right word is. So, I think there was a lot of things that were cool on those records that I liked, and I worked on them and stuff, but there was just like, I think we hadn't dealt with certain issues. So creatively, there might have been some things left on the table, and I don't know. I don't understand those albums. So I don't really, I like some of the songs, but I don't, you talked about perspective. I don't have perspective on them yet.
And, before we start taking some fan questions, I mean, at this point, and I know you've commented on this sort of stuff in the past to a degree, but, what would you say is sort of your perspective on, the early stuff? I know personally and creatively, you're in a place where you want to push forward, and, you want to do new things and try new things, and you don't want to seem obsessed over your past. You don't want other people to be obsessed over your past, but looking at it with more distance, with those records really pushing 20 at this point, is it easier to kind of, as I asked you earlier with the new record, look at them objectively, or maybe even like enjoy them almost as like an outsider?
I mean, I probably no, because I still play the songs live, so I don't think I can enjoy them. But It's not about, I mean, it's not about like being obsessed with the past or not wanting to be obsessed with the past. I think I, in my own world, as soon as I'm done and the song is like done, I kind of like exhale, move on. And I'm not saying, like, I still don't mind playing the songs live, and I don't like disavow them or hate playing them, or I don't have any kind of negative connotation. It's just how I work. I'm just, that's just, it's like I think even before we put out anything, if ever I wrote something good, it's like, it's unhealthy to kind of just like, if you sit around just like, oh, the song I wrote is so good. That's like, that's just a one-way ticket to not ever writing a good song again for me. And I feel like, even if you write Bohemian Rhapsody, you have to just kind of see what you didn't like about it, or kind of, kind of just put it out of your mind. You know what I mean? I just feel like it's just unhealthy creatively, but spiritually and just kind of matter of factly, I'm happy about it. It's like, I don't know. It's like if we won a championship. Um, if a sports team wins a championship, I think it's not like you're ashamed of it or you don't want to talk about it or you hate it. But if you're just gonna like, it's not like what you think about all day. If not, you'll never win again. You know what I mean? You're always, I mean, you hear athletes talk about all the time. It's the same thing. You kind of like got to put it aside and like focus on the new thing. Like, it's a new challenge. So I think it's as simple as that.
All right. Taking some of the questions that you guys submitted through the Q&A tab underneath the stream on Twitch. Nancy has rabies, has a question about the new music video that you guys just dropped. Whose idea was it to recreate the punch with Fab in the music video? What exactly kind of drove that idea?
I can't remember. It was either Fab or me. I don't know. Just Major League is a classic movie, and I think we were just thinking of that scene in Major League when they're celebrating. And it was just, we were just brainstorming like silly ideas of what to do. But Major League, I recommend that movie. Classic.
It is a classic. Crisis Actor wanted to know if you had any thoughts personally on Will Toledo's Car Seat Headrest, especially considering that band, that project sort of seems to take a lot of inspiration from many Stroke songs across the discography. I don't know how aware you are of a lot of these newer up and coming groups that seem to be heavily inspired, by a lot of the band's early work.
It's funny. I do know that band. I heard of them a while ago, but I can't remember right this second. I can't remember something. I hit a dead end at some point. Maybe I got distracted, but yeah, no, I need to go check it out. I don't know. Do you recommend them? I don't.
Yeah, I mean, I absolutely do. I think teens.
I saw them play live on TV. Is that a thing? I think it was pretty cool.
I think they've probably done a TV performance or two. I
heavily. I think I saw them on TV. But
I heavily recommend Teens of Denial. I think that's a great record. A lot of people love the record Twin Fantasy too. BMB Soccer asks, and this sort of harkens back to what you were talking about earlier in terms of politics. What event or person would you say you can kind of draw back to in terms of sparking that heavy interest in politics, or even just sort of making it a more overt statement in the stuff you're recording?
I think there's always been that in everything. I think honestly the goal from the beginning was political, weirdly. I think music, because the goal of trying to do something that's artistically inspirational and also has commercial success. You look at things, I always just, Star Wars and Thriller are like the kind of obvious ones. Those kind of things, to me, I feel like inspire a lot of kind of positive action and behavior in the world. And I think that like we've had songs like New York City Cops and a
Yeah.
lot of like lyrics that were political from the beginning.
Hmm.
And I think yeah, I mean, as I've been, you know, I used to focus mainly on music for many years, and then kind of I started focusing more on lyrics. So I think I've been trying to kind of get closer to that, because there is a line. It's hard. You can't just kind of, you know, unless, you know, you're Rage Against the Machine or something, and maybe you have a knack for it. I just feel like it's really easy to kind of fall into some traps with political lyrics. It's a real tough fine line to walk. You know, I think, you know, people like Tupac and Bob Marley probably did it best. But I think, again, it's like an artistry thing to slip it in and kind of make it universal. It's like taking really good poems and just setting them to music. It doesn't work. Sometimes very simple language works more. So it's finding that sweet spot. It just takes a lot of years, I guess. And so I think I've gotten a little better at it, and I'm still, you know, working at it. But I think to get a message that's powerful and universal, and also, you know, inspires you and kind of makes you forget like the negative things and kind of gives you energy to do good things, is yeah, it's just it's a magic trick that's pretty hard to learn. And but I think I've gotten a little better at it, so it's a little more specific and clear, I think, now.
Ito
You still don't want to ram it down people's throats, though.
Oh. Yeah, I mean, crossing over that that, I guess, that preachy border can, you know, leave a lot of people sort of turned off.
Yeah.
Ito Thella is asking about the album cover of the new record. What drove the choice of that particular Basquiat piece? And if that is not your favorite piece from that particular artist, you know, do you have a different favorite?
Yeah, I mean, that's not my favorite, but I mean, I like a lot of Basquiat paintings. I think I was doing an interview. Yeah, I think I just realized I've been kind of in the more kind of DIY universe of doing stuff, and I think when we finally did this, you know, Rick Rubin, you know, major label album, and they asked me, you know, what if I had any ideas for the art, I was like, how about a Basquiat painting? And so it happened, and it came through, and I think I chose about 10, and I think this is or 5, I can't remember, but that's the one that the band chose, and I was cool with it. I mean, but I just thought a Basquiat painting would be cool because it's like cool, edgy New York art, but also classic and 80s. Or I mean, it wasn't just 80s, but you know.
And I think it speaks to the abnormality that you guys were shooting for, and is stated in the title of the record too. Diego S is asking, calling back to the Daft Punk collaboration that you did. He wants to know if you would ever collaborate with them again, and I guess while you're addressing that, if you want to, maybe even take us back to that time and the process of doing that feature, that performance, and kind of the, you know, the inner workings of your part in that song.
I mean, I would definitely, yeah, I've been trying to do something. Those guys, they're like, I don't know, I think they're like not doing music right now. I mean, last I heard, you know, I don't want to blow up their spot, but I think, you know, one of them was focused on like video stuff, and then the other one was kind of obsessing with like ancient aliens or something. I can't remember what
I mean, as far as music goes, both of them seem to either be very active or just like very inactive.
Yeah, I think that's pretty accurate. No, I mean, I definitely Guiman, I think, has been doing a lot of things. I guess like a lot of the weekend songs. It's funny because some of those demos I had heard. But yeah, no, I mean, I definitely would obviously be down to work with them. I mean, came out cool. So yeah, that song, they played two different songs for me. Okay, so one of my favorite songs is Veritas Quo, which is a Daft Punk song, which is very simple, kind of repetitive, classical thing. I really like their medieval Euro minor classical Baroque flavor. And so when they played me those songs, they totally had that kind of Veritas Quo. And I think that they thought of it as two different songs. And I was like, can we just plop them together? And so that was the verse and the chorus. And it worked, I think. And yeah, it was just fun to work with them and play soccer with Guiman.
Bengal Blood is asking about.
Do you choose these questions based on their names?
No. These the people who watch are just very creative. I don't know what to tell you.
That's cool.
I swear I'm choosing them based on the question that they're asking. We can just start reading the names of these people later if you're into the idea. Is asking about some of the instruments that you play. This person would like to know if there's a single favorite guitar that you own and that you kind of go back to and maybe use even an inspiration point, like, you feel maybe you're most creative on it or you get the best sound out of it.
Not really. Like just this guitar I just got for like $50 yesterday at some strange gremlin store, just because I was going to be here for a month and needed an instrument. And I don't know, you don't have to find something kind of expensive or special to have a cool sound. I've always kind of judged guitars, I mean, it's not 100% true, it's just kind of something I say, but it is 70% true based on their look. Weirdly, because I always feel like when something looks cool, it kind of makes you play cooler. I have a tendency to think. Like a weird example, like when I did the Voids video for the kind of when we dressed up like 50s jazz guys, we were kind of dressed like a wedding band, and the whole day, and we had instruments plugged in. We were jamming while we were doing the video, kind of messing around. And the whole day, and we always, normally when we jam, it's very like strange Indian mountain music or, space metal, or just, it's, when we jam, it's like very kind of eclectic. But the whole day we were just kind of, it sounded like we were a wedding band. And it kind of freaked me out. I was like, oh wow, like the clothes you wear, like affect like the music you play. That's kind of strange and insane. And it's probably true with just kind of your personality and what you say and how you are. And anyway, thought that was interesting. Short story long, no, but I always go through phases where I'll have a guitar that, feels good or sounds good or some mixture. My favorite guitar is probably a 39 archtop acoustic Gretsch. Looks like a violin. I like old acoustic arch tops. Yeah.
Okay. Another time that I promise you I'm not choosing these questions based on the people's usernames, but Pretzel Girl would like to know about the SNL performance, the specific part where she's asking, why did you karate chop and say fuck after the first chorus in that performance? It just seemed like a really standout moment during the whole thing.
I said fight.
Oh, fight. I got it.
Oh, yeah. I was trying. I don't think they did it. I was telling them to, because I didn't want to bust their balls at SNL, because I feel like just to get the sign to say obey and will be visible was like kind of a whole thing. But shout out to They Live. But yeah, I was thinking like the guitar parts words are like very back and forth.
Hmm.
And so I was just thinking like maybe they could go with camera, like, you know, like go like Albert to Nick to Albert to Nick. And I was even like thinking they should do like one in blue and one in red for like, you know, political things.
Got
and
it.
So that's why I was like, fight, you know, but like guitar duel, like Crossroads, but didn't really come off. So just, I guess, sounded like I was cursing and doing karate. Oh,
You know,
well, maybe that's better.
It's live, so you know it can't all go as planned. But speaking of that night, did you really give John Mulaney your coat? Is that really a thing that happened?
Yes, I gave him 3 coats actually.
You gave John Mulaney 3 entire coats?
Yes.
Was he cold?
Yes.
Like what drove that?
Yeah, he's great. He's the sweetest guy, and his monologue was so cool, political. I was like, yeah, I mean, he's yeah, he's a, you know, I'm a fan, and we were doing the I don't want to like, yeah, I don't know. I just feel like I had brought, because we were doing the show, and I had brought like different things, because I don't know, you don't know what kind of looks good, I guess. Anyway, so yeah, I think we were doing the you know, the ads, like the teasers, the bumpers, whatever, the, you know, the little joke segments. And he was wearing, I think, like a sweater, like a cardigan with like suede elbow patches. And
that seems like, very much like his vibe.
Yeah. And I was just like, come on. I was like, you want like a, like, I don't know, like a leather jacket or something? And I wanted to style him. And he was super down. He was like, yeah. So, yeah, I think, yeah, I mean, it goes to the thing I was talking about with how you dress. I think, you know, I think when people kind of dress a certain way, it kind of like, it can like tap into different parts of themselves. So, you know, jackets are the window of the eyes or whatever. I'm like butchering my own lyrics. But window to the soul. But I don't know. I just, yeah, he's a nice guy, and I enjoyed being his stylist.
Yeah, well, you gave him a little bit of edge, and you know, speaking to kind of clothes empowering people. I mean, it works for Devo. You know, I mean, I don't think Devo it has. I don't think they would sound any other way had they not dressed the way that they did.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. That might be like an argument against, but I don't know.
You think so?
I don't know. I mean, what would they have sounded like? Yeah, I don't know.
All right, I don't want to. So, Grace Loves You.
I mean, what kind of music would you make if you wore a hat like that?
So if I wore a hat like that, it would probably sound like something out of an arcade cabinet, honestly. Like if I'm
Devo though, right?
A little bit, yeah. It would probably sound like something that would play behind like Donkey Kong, you know, something like that. That's probably what it would sound like. Yeah.
That sounds like something I'd listen to.
Grace Loves You wants to know what inspired the song and sort of the lyrical concept behind "Ode to the Mets."
Well, I mean, I wasn't thinking about the Mets, but
yeah.
It was after their, you know, wild card game loss, and I was sitting on the subway, I was standing on the subway platform, just kind of humming a thing. And then we recorded the demo that night, but they lost. I think it was a wild card game, and so our producer named it "Ode to the Mets" as like a joke. And I don't know. I always thought the name would change, and in fact, I feel like I've said this story before, so I don't want to like repeat myself. But yeah, I mean, I grew up a Mets fan, and I don't know. I thought we were gonna change the name, but Fab thought it had a cool meaning of like, you know, things that let you down, and so we ended up keeping it. But yeah, we really seem pretty baseball obsessed right now. But yeah, ironically, I've quit sports, and I haven't really paid attention to sports in years.
It seems like a very consistent theme on this album cycle. It does. I mean, there, you know, I mean, not that you have to answer or anything, but I actually am getting some consistent questions asking about the jerseys coming up in the merch store at some point. Just something to keep in mind. It's not anything you have to.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think I was hoping that the Astros would just kind of copy that style because I mean, basically, I got the chance to design my like dream baseball jersey. It was like '80s Astros, but like black.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I mean, I think it'd be cool if they wore those. They look a little more futuristic, maybe. So, but yeah, I mean, hopefully we can sell those. They are cool. Yeah.
To close things up, considering the positive experience that you guys had with this new record with Rick, the positive reception as well, even the Grammy nomination too, which congratulations on, by the way. You know, are you guys kind of jumping back into the process of a new record, or are you going to kind of give this one time to breathe?
I mean, no, I think we're just gonna, as soon as we can. I mean, I don't know, the protocols and all that. I mean, we're gonna do some demos soon, so I mean, yeah, we're gonna keep working, but you know, it's a little hard to kind of put the pedal to the metal in this climate.
Yeah.
But yeah.
All right.
And speaking of the Grammy, it's not enough to get nominated; it's about winning. So
that is true.
Hopefully.
Well, personally,
just a warning shot. No, I'm just kidding.
Personally, I think you guys. I think you guys are the ones to beat in the category. I know everybody in the chat is pulling for you guys to win that one. So, but
I mean, we could probably, honestly, we could probably win just based on the name of the album, really.
I mean, don't jinx it or nothing, okay? I mean, it's like we're all thinking that. You don't have to say it. We're thinking it, but you don't have to say it. All right.
Well, just people filling it out like, I don't know any of these bands, but New Abnormal, that makes sense. Anyway.
I mean, there's a strong possibility of that. We'll see. We will see. We'll see.
Honestly, no. I think I'm all love to all bands, and may they all win and whatever. Just jokes aside, I'm just messing around.
Yeah. Well, thank you for coming through and joking and messing around and just being an open book and talking with me and just being a chill guest. I appreciate it.
Oh, thanks. Is it over? Is that goodbye?
At the beginning of this, you said that an hour was long. Has it?
This was an hour.
This was an hour.
So right.
This was a whole hour. We did an hour.
Oh, dang.
I'm not just kicking you out or anything. It's been an hour. I don't want to take up too much of your time.
No, it's cool. I never learned to say goodbye, so I didn't know.
Well, I mean, like I said earlier, we could just read some usernames if you're, you know, we have Speedy Coco, we have I Don't Have One, Weird Fishes 74, Neeps, I don't know what that is.
Yeah, when you were starting,
yeah,
there were some good ones right off the bat. Like I have Rabies, I think I remember.
Yeah, the Rabies one, yeah. No, that was a good one. That's probably in like the top 3 of all the ones that we saw this evening. eHarmony Grits is interesting. eHarmony, wow. but grits. Okay, I don't know how those two things come together, but and also Queef Beef. Someone's named Queef Beef.
Wow.
So I think we should probably leave it at that because that's the best one I've read, and I don't think we're gonna find another one that's better than that one.
E minor harmony.
Yeah, probably. All right. Yes.
Okay.
It has been an hour, so you know, again, we appreciate you coming through. And are you going to play us a little something? Play us out?
I don't know. Yeah. What are you? Any requests?
First request in chat is the request. That's the first request. That is the first request. First request in chat.
Excuse me?
Hold on, I'm telling chat their first request is the one that's the request. Okay, so the first one I saw is Eternal Summer. Someone wants Eternal Summer.
Eternal Summer.
Yeah. The acoustic version.
I don't think I ever played that.
All right, can we get all 10 minutes of human sadness?
All 10 minutes of human sadness.
That,
Wow.
that seems like the next most popular request.
Yeah, I just, what I actually meant by request is like request like a style or band or artist song, like or maybe like a vegetable or an adjective.
Got it.
And let me just like create something.
Like more of an improv thing. I got it. Okay. I'll say cashier, donut shop on a Sunday.
Wow. Cashier, donut shop on a Sunday.
Yeah.
Sorry. The problem is it takes me about 3 minutes to do it, and that's like, I don't know if you want to like read credits or YouTube intro. Give me a second to
understand. Like... We're a patient audience, so.
What genre of music with this shop?
It sounds like you're going in a blues direction with it, and I think that makes sense. So honestly, I would continue down that road.
I wanna blow my brains out. I wanna blow my brains out. Something like that.
Yeah. That's exactly where I was expecting it to go. Yeah. Okay. These are the internal thoughts of the cashier at the donut shop on Sunday.
Yeah.
Yeah, got it. Awesome. Well, thank you. You're our first musical guest that actually I think really kind of busted out a song during the whole thing. So you really kind of went above and beyond.
My pleasure.
I appreciate that. That was great.
All right. Well, yeah. Good luck and continued success. And I've watched many of your reviews.
Oh.
So, yeah.
I appreciate that.
It's always,
just because
interesting to hear your reviews. They are fair-handed.
Just because you said that, I'm going to call up everyone I know at the Grammys, and I'm going to say, guys, don't fuck this up. Give it to the new abnormal. Make sure the new abnormal gets it. I'm gonna make some calls.
I think, isn't it bribes? Isn't that what you're gonna need? Isn't that what people are saying?
Yeah, but we'll see. Yeah.
All right. Just tell me who to bribe, please.
Yeah, I'll let you know. All
right.
I'll tweet it to you. I see you're on Instagram. I'll Instagram it to you.
All right.
Have a good one, man.
Farewell. Thanks, y'all.
Bye.
I'm hanging up, right? Is it time?
You're hanging up. Bye.
All right. Thanks so much, man.
All right. Bye.
Later.
Okay. Wow.